All right, today we are diving deep into a really fascinating political shift that's happening right now in Nepal. We're talking about a new generation that's stepping up and challenging an order that's been in place for a very long time. So let's get right into it.
That's a pretty powerful way to put it, isn't it? Nepal, this incredible country known for its ancient history and just unbelievable resilience, is now stepping into a totally new era. And what's wild is that the winds of change, well, they're blowing faster and stronger than maybe ever before.
You know, to really get a handle on where Nepal is headed, we've got to understand where it's been. And its recent past, well, it's a story of constant, and I mean constant, dramatic change.
Just look at this timeline. It shows you just how turbulent things have been. I mean, in the early 2000s, a monarchy that had been around for centuries just ended. Then, around 2006, a decade-long internal conflict finally ceased. And in 2015, a brand new constitution was adopted, which was supposed to be this fresh start, a new democratic chapter. But here's the thing. All that massive change didn't bring the stability everyone was hoping for. Nope. Instead, it kind of kicked off this whole new era of political instability.
And this right here is the crucial point. All of these huge changes were meant to build a stable foundation. But for the everyday person in Nepal, that promise just never really came true. You had governments rising and falling, coalitions coming together and then breaking apart, and all the while, people were just left waiting for the progress they were told was coming.
So let's jump to the present, because this is where the story gets really interesting. That long period of instability we just talked about, well, it created an opening for something totally new to come through. Yeah, just when it seemed like Nepal was stuck in this endless cycle of shaky governments, new voices started to cut through the noise. We're talking about forces that were a bit unpolished, kind of unconventional, and definitely not afraid to shake things up. And their message wasn't some complex political manifesto. Actually, its power was in how simple it was. They were just calling for accountability from leaders, transparency in how things are run, and real, actual change that people could see and feel in their lives. And for the first time in a while, you could tell the old political guard started to feel the ground shifting under their feet.
So who's behind all this? This right here is the answer. It's Nepal's youth. This is a generation that is more connected, more informed, and way more organized than any before them. They're not just sitting back and waiting for change anymore. They're actively, loudly demanding it. And they're completely reshaping the political conversation.
And this brings us right to the core conflict of our story today. What we're seeing is a direct collision between these brand new demands and an old, deeply rooted system that, frankly, does not like to change.
I mean, the contrast here is just so clear. On one side, you have the old way of doing things, tangled up in bureaucracy, built on shaky political deals and moving at a snail's pace. And on the other side, you have the public demanding immediate action, real stability, and actual results. That gap between what people expect and what they're getting is just getting wider every single day.
A key battleground in this whole struggle is the very structure of the government itself, federalism. Now, the idea was to bring power closer to the people, right? And you know what? At the local level, there have been some real wins. We're talking new roads, local projects, things that build trust. The problem, the big hurdle, is the coordination between the local, the provincial, and the central governments. That friction is slowing everything down, and making this whole system work smoothly is one of the biggest challenges Nepal faces.
And of course, none of this is happening in a bubble. The political pressure we're seeing is being fueled by very real economic issues that hit people right where they live.
Think about this for a second. Every year, thousands of Nepalese leave the country to find work. The money they send back home, the remittances, is an absolute lifeline for their families and for the whole economy. But it's a double-edged sword, because their absence also creates a huge void. And as economic pressures like unemployment and rising prices build up, so does the demand for leaders to finally deliver opportunities and stability right there at home.
So, this all leads us to the fundamental question, the one that everything hinges on. With all this energy for change, can these new leaders and new political groups actually make a difference within the old, complicated system? Or is the system itself just going to absorb them and slow them down too?
This is exactly why Nepal is at such a pivotal moment. The country is literally writing its next chapter as we speak, and honestly, nobody knows for sure how it's going to turn out.
This really sums it all up perfectly. You have this massive collision of forces. Public expectations are sky high. And what happens next? Well, it truly depends on whether leaders, both the old guard and the new voices, can actually rise to meet this incredible moment.
And in the end, that's what this all comes down to. For centuries, when you think of Nepal, you think of its epic, unchanging geography. But its next great chapter, that's not going to be shaped by the mountains. It's going to be shaped by the people who call those mountains home. Thanks so much for joining us.